Hey there, Todd. How you doing?
Doing good, Jacob. That was a good little tennis match you had.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that you won, but oh well. Next time, I'll
uh,
get you.
it's just one round. I'm sure we kept playing. You would have, you would have beat me.
I
Spaced the word there for a second, man. You got to start talking with people more often.
know you kind of lose, how to articulate when you
Yeah,
just kind of sit quietly in your bedroom all day. You know,
I feel like I mean, I didn't have a wide vocabulary to begin with, but I feel like it's really gone down.
dude. Yeah, I feel you. I'm in the same boat.
But hopefully that won't last too much longer. I mean, we don't know, but hopefully things can start to change.
Yep, yep. I agree.
But
I totally agree.
other than that, though, you've been doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Life's going great. Family's great. Just living to its fullest, I guess. You know.
That's good.
What
Good to
about you?
hear. Pretty good. Yeah. I mean, ups and downs. Not all the time it's perfect, but right now I'm feeling pretty good, and it's nice when I can get out of the house, go on a walk, or see somebody for a little bit and talk with them.
Yep.
It makes a difference. In fact, yesterday I was on campus and I ran into a friend briefly, got to talk with him, and it was good. It's been a while since I just like randomly ran into. Actually, it happened again today. I was headed to Target, and as I was headed to Target, there's this person running towards me, and kind of that awkward time when like you see him up ahead, but because like they're running and you're walking and you really don't think you know them, you're like, okay, what do I do? Do I pull out my phone? Do I look at it? Like, how do I kind of avoid it? Well, I was just like trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and I like, as I was doing that, all of a sudden, the person's like, "Hey, Todd," and I'm like, "What the?" And I look up and like actually look at him. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I actually know you." Turned out it was just somebody from church, and I was like, "Oh, look at that."
I like it.
So yeah, that those were good things. Good things have happened. Other than that, life's just hanging in there. School's almost done.
Yep. No, I agree. School's almost done.
So
Get it over with.
yeah, but
How'd you like the article today?
I liked it a lot. I mean, well, okay, actually, sorry, I averagely liked it. It was a little bit difficult to understand, but I think it had some good points. And for those who don't have the article in front of them, the scientific article that we're looking at today is research called Life Stress and Depressed Mood Among Adolescents, examining a cognitive effect mediation model. So they basically just looked at things that were mediating depression and stress in adolescents.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I thought it was kind of hard to understand. I don't know how you felt about it, but I did
Yeah,
feel.
I definitely. This is probably at the one that I don't like the most. It hit there. Like I wasn't a too big fan of it, just because it was tough to understand, tough to read. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just like my mood right now. I'm not in the bestest of moods, but it was just really kind of like, whew,
Yeah.
okay.
I had to keep rereading a little bit just to actually get something out of it.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I mean, even though with that though, luckily I was able to find a couple things that I felt they were kind of important. Um, One of the biggest ones, the focus that they had in this study was to look at how self-esteem and self-concept under the circumstances of stress affected individuals, specifically adolescents, but how those things affected them in terms of depression and other things. And the correlation, or I guess causation that they seemed to find, well, I guess it's more of a correlation. The correlation they seemed to find was that those with a lower self-esteem and those with kind of a bad self-concept that just really didn't think much about themselves, when they were under really stressful circumstances, they were a lot more likely to be prone to depression. It just kind of triggered it for them. And whereas if they had a little bit higher self-esteem and had a better self-concept, that when those stressful moments came, the chances of depression setting in were a lot less likely.
Right. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that that would be the case, because I feel like many people could relate to that, where if you don't have a lot of self-esteem or you don't have a lot of like self-awareness, you kind of become in that more depressive state in life. I feel like that's even true for my life, where if I'm not aware of what's happening around me, what's happening to me, and I'm not, feeling the best, I definitely feel a lot more like in the moment I feel sadder, but then even like circumstances and events that occur around that I feel are more depressive than if I'm more aware of what's going on, if I'm more, confident in what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, what I thought of, because I've seen it in a lot of areas in my life, but one of the areas that I could probably illustrate it the best, and it's kind of a smaller area, but is playing basketball, especially in high school. I played a lot more in high school. And I played both on the team for the high school as well as just with friends. But a lot of times when I played on the team for high school, I didn't have a whole lot of self-esteem. Um, a lot of it would come from I'd miss a shot or something and I'd start to beat myself up. And as a result, I just wouldn't play very good. And it's just like really wouldn't do very good and it sucked. And I really hated it. And it kind of just seemed to carry over from one game to the next. And it was like, oh, but when I'd go and play with friends, we were just having a good time. We're messing around, and we get playing, and just messing around. I'd hit it like a 3-pointer or something, and I'd start to feel really good about myself. I'd be like, "Yes, I can do this." And then like pretty soon, I was playing really, really well. Like didn't have an issue, and I was like, "Man, if I could only play like this when I was playing, or when I'm playing actual games for high school, be doing so much better." But a lot of it just came from my self-esteem changed so much just from when I was playing for high school versus just outside of high school practices and games and playing with friends. It was totally different. And self-esteem really changed that.
Yeah, I kind of like how you said that it would it would progressively like maybe not get worse, but it would progress throughout your entire life. Like in school, you know,
Yeah.
during your school basketball game, it would continue throughout all the other games. I feel
Yeah.
like that's true for a lot of different things. Like let's say grades. If you have one moment, you have one day where it's like, man, I suck at school. You when you're in that mentality, I feel like it just gets worse, especially for me. If I feel like I suck at school, my grades seem to get worse and worse and worse. But if I'm more, optimistic and thinking, hey, I am good at school, I could do this, you know, seems my grades
Yeah.
pick back up.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. Like I know I've seen it a lot amongst different friends. I've got some friends that would be or almost straight A students and some that are almost straight D students. And I think they're both great people, types of people in different ways. But I've definitely seen the pattern of like the straight D students, for example. I don't think they're necessarily too many of, at least most of them, I don't feel like are that much dumber than the straight A students. A lot of times it just seems that their self-esteem and self-confidence isn't there. They failed once at like their freshman year and they're just like, no, like I suck in school. And it's like, no, like I've seen you do other things in life. I'm like, I know you're smart. I know you're capable of doing things, but like in your head and you're just set like that, no, I can't do it. Whereas the person who's got straight A's, they're not really like amazingly capable. It just seems to be for some reason they've got a pretty high self-esteem. Like, yeah, I can do this. Like, I can take on this challenge, and they do good.
Mhm.
And I definitely think there's a huge. I think you can find a whole lot of success in life if you can find a way to manage it. Which the good thing is this article does talk about that a little bit, ways to address issues with lower self-esteem and bad self-concept. Especially, it's more taking the angle as like a parent or an adult with an adolescent, but this can definitely be applied really to anybody. Um, but they talk about 3 steps when addressing or yeah addressing this issue. And the first one is to educate the individual to help them understand what's going on and prepare them for it. And then the second phase is to continue that preparation and give them coping skills, whether that's meditation, cognitive restructuring, like thinking about, okay, what am I thinking about right now? And what is that causing, and how could I maybe readdress the situation? Or they also talk about self-reinforcement instructions, just finding ways to help you boost your self-confidence. And then, so that's the second phase, is to help them prepare those skills. And then the third is to help them actually implement those and help them set their own goals in areas they feel they're lacking in doing that, and then making it happen.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart. I feel like that's what a lot of people tell us as just individuals. Like, it's what life teaches us. First, we have to educate ourselves. Like, if you want to play a sport, you have to educate yourself in that sport, right?
Yeah.
And then the second phase is you learn the moves. If you played tennis, you learn how to hit the ball the correct way. Hold the racket. If you played basketball, you learn how to actually shoot the hoop.
Yeah.
And then the third phase is just like practice. Actually putting what you know and the skills that you've learned and doing it over and over and over again. And so, like, just like sports, I feel like this really works with just ourselves as well. We have to first educate, learn the techniques, and then perform those techniques, set the goals, and do it.
Yeah. No, it's huge. I mean, I know that's really all. In my experience with therapists, that's really the biggest thing that they work for anyways, to do, which is a really good thing. They're really just there as a coach. Sorry, it's an emotional coach, and they're very beneficial. I mean, I've played basketball without coaches, and if you're just with friends, you're just messing around, it can be fun, but you don't really, like, there's a lot of the game that's missing without the coach. But having the coach there, it makes all the difference. It really helps. It can make the game so much more fun in such a different aspect, especially when you're then versing a bunch of people that aren't your friends. I mean, not that you necessarily hate the other team, but they're people you don't really know. And so in life, you're going to deal with a lot of people you don't really know. So it's good to kind of have a little bit of a coach, or and it doesn't necessarily have to be a therapist per se. A lot of these things can be done just in families and amongst good friends, but when needed, it's totally good and fine to involve a therapist, because that's their role.
Yeah. And I feel like we do need that other person as well. It can't just be ourselves, because, like, we ourselves don't see everything that happens, right?
Yeah,
We get our points of view, we get our viewpoint in life, and our emotions will affect, this viewpoint. And so to have a coach or to have a therapist or, somebody there who's who's like a third person, I feel they can see what's actually going on better than sometimes even we can see what's going on.
definitely.
That's definitely what a coach does in a basketball game or in sports. They're that third person that sees a different view than what we see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that segues really well into just at least for me, the last piece that I wanted to discuss in this article, which was the way to address these issues. So, like, you kind of have those 3 steps to bring up with your issues and facing it, but they make it very clear that when intervening, at least from the studies that they looked at, the most effective interventions were those that were straightforward. Those that kind of beat around the bush weren't very helpful. And you can take those interventions in lots of different ways. Sometimes it's social skills training. Other times they have here play therapy or parent training, there's various ways you can address the issues, but the important thing is that it's straightforward. When you beat around the bush, people have no clue what you're talking about. They just don't catch it. And so when you can be straightforward, you don't have to be a jerk about it. You don't have to be, rude or abusive or like emotionally or mentally abusive about it, you can just be like, hey, like I know I've talked to friends before. It's kind of awkward at first. Like the first time I did it, I remember talking with a friend once. I sat down with him. I said, hey, look, I know you're struggling. I understand that this and this is an issue for you. But like, I want to help you. So I want to ask you some questions to help me understand. And then I want to ask some questions on how I might be able to help you. And so I did. And it was a little awkward at first when I started the conversation, but by the end of the conversation, it was one of those like really bonding, close moments. And since then, we've become a lot better friends. And so I can definitely say like it might be a little bit scary when you when you're approaching some of these things straightforward, but it's needed. Especially like in the case of this study where it's talking about it's specifically looking at adolescents, so it's looking about how like adults can help adolescents or those in adolescence, but I mean this can be applied to friend peer to peer as well, and in those situations it's probably even more intimidating, but I can vouch that it works. It's good.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. It does definitely work when you're just straightforward with people, when you are honest, but you're caring. You got to show them that love. Just in talking with people, you know, take a person that I've been talking to lately. When I'm honest with her and I'm straightforward with her, she's willing to accept what I say, willing to actually, you know, have us both progress in life and not just come to a standstill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's definitely like sometimes we're afraid because we're afraid to either hurt somebody or we're afraid that they won't like us. But you just have to be who you are. You have to make sure that you do it in a loving, caring way, but be straightforward and not let the problem get bigger. You know, it's definitely that's probably a life lesson that many of us should learn. It's not just between parents and adolescents, but it's
Yeah.
between friends, between family, brothers, sisters, everything.
Yeah. No, it's so beneficial. It's just can be applied to so many relationships and so many things in life. It's good. But I guess with that, I mean, those are the things for me that stuck out. And I know talking with you seemed to have stuck out. Did you have anything else, though, for you specifically that stuck out in this article that you wanted to discuss? Or
No, I think that's about everything right there.
well, that's good. think it's I think it's perfect just to understand that low self-esteem and a bad self-concept, just kind of in review, that low self-esteem, low self-concept um, under very stressful circumstances can lead to depression and make you more vulnerable to depression. But that when we educate individuals on the situation, we give them coping mechanisms, and then we help them apply those coping mechanisms, and then we do all that straightforward, that we'll have a lot better chance of addressing or helping the situation.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Um, so I guess to move on with that, going to our next section, looking for the good in the world.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh
these
yeah.
articles are good too, but it's always fun to look at the different good stuff that's going on. We have today
Um,
for our good news, Jacob.
to answer your question, uh, on the Good News Network, one of my favorite websites that you showed me actually. I've enjoyed looking at this thing. Um, on the very first article, it said musician uses truck bed to play drive-by concert for friends in quarantine. Um, I know. Let's see here. I can't find the phrase anymore. Oh well, I'm not gonna look for it. But that's really kind of cool. It shows a way that we can help bring joy to other people. While social distancing, just do a little drive-by concert. If you know how to play a guitar or something, maybe a violin, or you know how to sing. But you can just put out a little show for those who that you love, or just random people. Maybe you could do that on Zoom. You record yourself playing.
Yeah. No, I think it's super cool. In fact, I pulled up the article here with you to just read it, but yeah, I thought it was a super cool article and or like little thing that some guy did. And I think the coolest thing too is, I mean, he did something special, but he also didn't have to go super far out of his way. He's on his way to go visit his grandparents and decided just on the way he would go stop by other family members and friends' houses and just play a concert for them in their neighborhood and for their neighbors as well. And just, kind of just have a good time.
I just that reminded me on Sunday, we had the Easter Bunny driving around in a truck. So
Did you?
yeah, it was kind of cool actually. I totally forgot about that until just now. But the Easter Bunny was driving around in a truck around my town. I was kind of like, oh, that's cute. That's cool.
You know what's funny? That actually reminded me the beginning of the beginning when all this quarantine stuff started happening. It was maybe, I don't know, maybe a week in. Um, I can't remember the exact time frame, but somebody did a whole parade just through neighborhoods. They just drove by it through our neighborhood, and we're doing this little parade. Everybody's honking and playing music from their cars and stuff, and it was nothing fancy, but it was just kind of funny. It's a small little thing. I was like, hey, that. I mean, it gave me something to smile and laugh about then, so it was good.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true. Like, it doesn't have to be anything super big. I mean, it's just a bunny driving around, or a parade just going around. Like,
Yeah,
it's nothing marvelous, I guess, but it's something to just kind of chuckle at, bring
yeah.
joy to life.
No, definitely. The little things definitely, I think, are what make things good, especially right now. I one of my favorite things right now to do because it's about the only thing I get to do that's not involving homework or sitting at a computer and sitting at home is getting outside and going on a walk. And I spend a lot of that time though playing Pokemon Go, but I also always try to spend just at least a little bit of time where I just appreciate the mountains and the weather and just how nice things are around and how good they are outside just for a moment because it's like it feels good, it's a good break, it's nice. And
Yeah,
just kind of shows me it's like, hey, little things make a difference.
yeah, no, I agree. I feel like just talking to you and like even focusing on the little things has brought me a little bit of joy today. I came
Yeah.
into this a little like, okay, let's get this done. But now, like, I'm pretty happy right now. I feel joyful. I feel that was a weird phrase I just said right there, but that's okay.
It's all
I
good.
feel
It just ain't our
joyful.
major.
Life is like the weather is really good outside today. I did go and play some tennis with my brothers, and so
That's cool.
yeah, I don't know. It's been a good day.
That's good. Well, I'm glad things got better for you, and hopefully for those who are listening, things get a little bit better for them as well. But all in
Yeah,
all, though, I'm grateful I got to talk with you today, Jacob.
yeah, same.
And I guess I'll see you on the next call.
Yep. Don't worry, I'll beat you next time in tennis. So
Sounds good.
have a great day.
Shoot, I missed. Bye.
Bye.